Movie starts with Mahavir Singh Phogat watching an Olympic wrestling match on a small television from his government office in a village in Haryana, India. And even though he looks calm on the outside, it is clear that this match means everything to him, because he once lived the same dream. And as the match plays, we learn that Mahavir was a national-level wrestler in his youth, who had the talent and discipline to go far, but had to quit wrestling due to financial pressure, lack of support, and the reality that medals do not put food on the table. So he took up a government job and buried his dream. But that dream never truly left him, because he still believes that India can win Olympic gold in wrestling if given the right training and support. And since he can no longer do it himself, he becomes obsessed with the idea that his future son will fulfill that dream for him and bring honor to the country. And when his first child is born, it turns out to be a daughter, which visibly disappoints him, even though he tries to hide it. And this pattern continues as his second child is also a daughter, and then a third, and then a fourth. So while the village celebrates the births, Mahavir slowly distances himself from wrestling altogether, puts away his medals, and convinces himself that his dream is over, choosing to live a quiet, routine life instead. Years pass, and Mahavir's daughters, Geeta and Babita, grow up like normal village girls, helping with chores, going to school, and living under traditional expectations. Until one day a turning point happens when Geeta and Babita get into a street fight with two older boys who were teasing them. And instead of losing, the girls beat the boys badly, using raw strength and instinct. And when Mahavir hears about this incident, he is shocked, not angry, because for the first time he sees something familiar in his daughters, something he recognizes from his own wrestling days. And when he questions them about how they fought, their movements, grips, and reactions confirm his suspicion that they have natural wrestling ability. That night, Mahavir has a realization that completely changes the direction of his family's life, as he finally understands that talent does not belong to a gender, and that gold is gold whether it is won by a son or a daughter. So he makes a firm decision to train Geeta and Babita as wrestlers, despite knowing that the village, society, and even his own wife will strongly oppose this idea. And from the very next morning, he begins their training at dawn, forcing them into a strict routine that includes running, physical labor, discipline, and a wrestler's lifestyle that strips away comfort and childhood freedom. Geeta and Babita initially hate the training because it is physically exhausting, emotionally draining, and socially embarrassing. As the training intensifies, Mahavir builds a small wrestling pit and personally coaches the girls using old-school techniques, teaching them discipline, respect for the mat, and the mental toughness required to fight. But since they lack proper opponents, he brings in their cousin, Omkar, to train with them. And initially, the girls lose badly, which frustrates Mahavir because he knows they are holding back and not applying what they learn. And when he scolds them harshly, they start to understand that wrestling is not about sympathy or excuses, but about survival and strength. Despite moments of rebellion where Geeta and Babita try to sabotage their training by waking Mahavir late or pretending to be injured, they are eventually confronted with a hard truth during a wedding celebration where they experience what life will likely be like if they follow society's expected path. And after hearing another girl explain how most women are denied choices and independence, Geeta and Babita finally understand that their father is fighting the world so they can have a different future. And this realization changes their mindset completely. From that point onward, Geeta and Babita commit fully to wrestling, waking up before sunrise, training harder, and gradually improving their technique, stamina, and confidence. And Mahavir, while still strict, starts to see real progress, especially when Geeta finally defeats her cousin in a fair bout, proving that the training is working. Their first real test comes when Mahavir enters Geeta into a local wrestling competition, or dangal, where she is the only girl among male wrestlers, and the crowd mocks her, questions her clothing, and assumes she will lose instantly. But Geeta surprises everyone by choosing the strongest opponent instead of the weakest, showing that she is no longer afraid. And although she loses the match, she puts up an impressive fight that earns her respect, prize money, and confidence. And most importantly, it ignites a hunger in her to keep competing. From there, Geeta begins participating in more local competitions and starts winning, slowly building a reputation. And Mahavir uses these wins as stepping stones to aim higher, eventually pushing for Geeta to receive professional training at a national sports academy, which becomes a major turning point in the story because it separates father and daughter physically and emotionally for the first time. At the academy, Geeta is exposed to modern coaching methods, international techniques, and structured competition. And while this initially seems like an upgrade, it creates a conflict because her new coach prioritizes point-scoring strategies that focus on defense and safe play rather than aggressive wrestling. And Geeta, influenced by this environment and eager to fit in, begins distancing herself from her father's teachings, believing that his methods are outdated and too rigid. This rift becomes evident when Mahavir visits and notices that Geeta has changed her fighting style, become less aggressive, and is losing matches she should be winning. As Geeta continues competing internationally, her losses pile up, confidence drops, and she realizes that playing safe and following rigid systems is not enough to win at the highest level, especially when facing physically stronger and more experienced opponents. And it is only then that she starts to understand the value of her father's unconventional methods, which focused on attacking fearlessly, using instinct, and controlling the mental side of wrestling. The story reaches its climax at the Commonwealth Games, where Geeta qualifies to represent India, and Mahavir, due to circumstances, is unable to coach her directly from the mat, leaving him helplessly watching from the stands as Geeta progresses through the rounds. And during the final match, Geeta initially struggles because she falls back into defensive habits. But as the match unfolds, she remembers her father's voice, his lessons, and the sacrifices he made. And in a critical moment, she chooses to attack instead of defend, executing a risky move that wins her crucial points. In the final seconds of the match, with the pressure at its peak, Geeta makes a bold decision that goes against conventional coaching advice, but aligns perfectly with what her father taught her. And this decision leads her to victory, securing the gold medal for India. And as the national anthem plays, Mahavir breaks down in tears, not because his dream was fulfilled, but because his daughters proved that courage, discipline, and belief can rewrite destiny. The movie ends with Mahavir and Geeta sharing a silent, emotional acknowledgement of their journey, showing that while the dream began as Mahavir's, it ultimately became Geeta's own. And the story closes by reinforcing the idea that empowerment comes from opportunity, and greatness comes from those willing to challenge tradition, endure hardship, and believe in themselves even when the world tells them they do not belong. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this movie explanation video, then don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe our channel. See you in the next video. Bye!